OCD is lying to you, and it's doing this every single day. Another way of viewing it is really as the great manipulator. It knows exactly kind of what to throw at you in order to get you stuck in the OCD cycle. And it knows that because it's coming from us. It knows all of the weak spots, all of those vulnerabilities, all of those things that make you feel fearful and like you need to have certainty. And it constantly kind of offers up those things to us. It gives us, images or ideas or sensations that make us think that something is very deeply wrong, that something needs to be paid attention to, that we need to come out of the present moment and start trying to figure that thing out, trying to have that certainty about it. But actually, all of this is just a trick. OCD is really a master at kind of coming up with those things because it knows exactly what will make you feel anxious, what will get you on edge. And unfortunately, the more that we kind of give into that, the more that we play its game, the more likely it is that we're going to get stuck in the future. Really learning how to kind of get over OCD's lies and to kind of, to start taking back control really involves understanding first of all, what happens in the body when we actually get activated by one of OCD's lies. So this is pretty much what happens. OCD says something. It gives you an idea. It gives you a thought. It gives you a sensation. And straight away, we respond with a fear response. That might be that your nervous system is activated. And what happens in that moment is that your sympathetic nervous system comes online. When that happens, your blood starts to be filled with stress hormones. So the body is pumping out cortisol, it's pumping out adrenaline. This is really the kind of famous fight or flight situation where you really feel that there's something awful that needs to be escaped, that perhaps you need to fight something, you need to problem solve, you need to look for the answer, you need to get rid of uncertainty. And it's because your nervous system has been activated that you're experiencing this very real kind of stress response. In your blood, your blood literally has stress hormones in it. And so in that moment, the lie that has come from the OCD, the intrusive thought or the sensation or whatever it is, it really does feel true. And if you are struggling with OCD and anxiety, I do now have a program, the Break Free from OCD and Anxiety program. It's a tailored 12-week program to help you to really learn how to break free from OCD. And if you're interested in doing that, you can get a free discovery call with me by heading over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes. It feels threatening. It seems real in some way. And it seems that we kind of need to pay attention to it. We need to resolve it. We need to find the answer to it. But I'm here today to tell you that actually you do not need to get the answer at all. Really, you're being tricked. That there's a kind of court jester here, and that's really what OCD is like. It's trying to play tricks on you. It's trying to catch you out. It's trying to get you to come out of the present and pay attention to it. And really what we need to do is try to almost imagine OCD as some kind of court jester. It's a trickster. It's silly. It's not as serious as we tend to think that it is. And when we can actually, see that, when we realize that actually what's going on here is we are having a biological response to an idea, to something that we really, really don't like. And that's the reason for why we think this thing is true. Now, you may have heard people talk quite a lot about catastrophizing. Or kind of black and white thinking. And this is really what I'm talking about here. When the OCD creates that lie and then we get activated in that way, well, the next thing is that suddenly your thoughts, they do become very black and white. We tend to think in these lines that, this must be true or this must be it must be wrong, and I have to figure out one way or the other what it is. And the reality is that things are not normally like that. There's often a lot of grey in between things. And when we can start allowing the grey a bit more, when we let go of looking for, that kind of certainty of one way or another, that's when we can actually begin to kind of take back that control. But the reality is, as I'm sure you know, that in that moment when you're triggered, when you do have those stress hormones in your blood, it can be that much harder to actually be able to do that because, of course, you're feeling this stress. You're in the moment. You may know what you need to do, but because you don't feel that you have the answer, you don't feel that you kind of know exactly how to do it. Often we don't do it. And it's important to recognize that the real hard work of overcoming OCD is actually in these moments. I really do wish that it was easier, that there was a kind of simple approach or a simple way that you could not feel that uncertainty, that you could feel better. But the reality is, in that moment after you've been triggered, because of those stress hormones in the blood, your thoughts are going to seem threatening. They are going to seem catastrophic. But the important thing, or the thing to recognize, is that just because your thoughts are, very real seeming and very threatening, that they do seem true, actually, that is often a sign that the most important thing that you can do in that moment is actually to just walk away from trying to figure it out anymore. If you continue trying to have that certainty about it, all you're going to do is you're going to wind yourself up and you're going to get stuck more and more deeply in that OCD trap. So instead, what you really want to do is to learn how to leave these things alone. You don't have to figure them out. You don't need to get that certainty. If it really does feel real, if you're going round in circles already with the thoughts trying to get that certainty, well, that's actually your cue to say, perhaps this is the OCD. Now, we don't want to have certainty about that because, again, if you try to say with certainty, this is the OCD, you can end up making a kind of obsession about that in itself. But by just saying, perhaps this is the OCD, perhaps I can just allow this to be for half an hour or for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes or however long it feels good for you, by just leaving it for a short while, taking a deep breath in, and then trying to refocus your attention onto the present moment, onto valued activities. What tends to happen is you give your nervous system an opportunity to actually begin to kind of calm down. If we stay with that thought, if we stay stuck in our head trying to figure it out, well, we're going to get more and more lost in it. We're going to be really believing potentially that thing is true, because the more you try to figure it out, the more you question yourself and the more stuck you get. As soon as you start taking the other road, which is to allow that discomfort a bit more, to acknowledge that you don't like the idea of that thing, but you also acknowledge that thinking about it too much is just going to make you feel more stuck and is going to make that thing feel more real. So when we let go, even if it's just for a short time, we give ourselves the opportunity to kind of calm down and to allow that moment to pass. And often, a kind of more calm mindset begins to seep in, where at the very least we're able to see that thought just a little bit more objectively and to be able to kind of let it go a little bit. Even if you still feel anxious after doing that, it's obviously a lot better if you can come into the present than just kind of continuing that process of looking for that certainty. And any time that you postpone thinking about it is actually a bit of a win, because you're teaching your nervous system that in these situations, you don't have to look for that certainty. You can put up with that discomfort for a short while. And in doing so, you're training your nervous system then to be able to do that in the future. So each time you do that, it's actually a bit of a win, and you're training yourself to be more resilient, more strong, and and more likely to be able to deal with these things in the future. So many thanks, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed that one. If you have any questions at all, do please let me know. And remember, I do offer a free discovery call. To get that, you can head over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes, and I will see you next time. This video is for education only. It's not therapy or medical advice. If you're struggling, please speak with a licensed mental health professional.